Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Adam.
And I'm Felix.
We got something really good for you here today. If you've been watching along so far in this journey, we're at chapter 10 of a book club. We're not ignorant to the fact we're not getting a lot of views on the book club, but that's really more for us, and I'll tell you why. We are developing Felix's show, both a close-up and a stand-up show, and we're documenting the entire process. Felix is a hobbyist magician, knows a handful of tricks, does them well, but doesn't have a show developed either in close-up or in stand-up. So what you're going to watch is the journey, which we're tentatively calling Zero to Hero. We're not saying Felix is a zero, but you get the idea. If you have better suggestions of watching somebody journey from never doing a proper performance in magic to standing up and doing a 35-minute stand-up show, let us know. Drop some comments, give us some clever names or titles for this series. But the series is genuinely about us developing a show for Felix, a 35-minute stand-up show that could stand the test of, let's say, a corporate event, a private party, something that is good enough that an audience could sit there and be thoroughly entertained with. We're going to go through everything we've been discussing in the book clubs, as well as a lot of the information I've learned in 20 years of doing it as a living. So to start that, we're doing close-up and stand-up. We're doing it a little bit backwards from how most people do. Most people learn close-up magic, get a few gigs, and then develop to a stand-up show. We're gonna flip that on its head and develop the stand-up show first. Once we have that done, you're gonna see Felix perform his entire show. You're also gonna see the way he's practicing every single piece of the show, how he's putting the show together, why he's putting it together in that order, how we're gonna develop his character. So everything we've preached to you, you're now gonna start seeing in action. It's the best way to learn it, by watching someone else do it.
I think this is the most important point. The reason why we are so transparent is obviously, I said it in the very first video, I love magic and I am an amateur in the best way, right? I love what we are doing. I love creating tricks together with Adam. I love this company we are building very, very much, but I'm not a professional performer. So what's the best way to wrap your head around a new topic? Learn it from zero to a point where you're proficient in what you're doing. And we thought the best way to let you guys benefit from this as well is that we on one hand go through the theory, go through the books, the gold basically of showmanship for magicians and the whole Fitzky trilogy, Maximum Entertainment, and then try to put this into action. And since I don't have any experience in performing, basically I can ask all the questions probably everybody else would ask if they are getting into a new field, right? And this whole series is also in a way that you should, if you find anything interesting or you have any questions on something, drop them in the comments and we are going to add another section to the next videos and try to answer them as well. With the series of Adam's Insights. So if we can't handle something or answer a question in my series, then Adam is going to give you all the goodies and the answers from his experience in Adam's Insight in this, right?
That's it. So we're excited about this. It's something that we haven't ever seen anyone. Really, I've never seen anything like it as far as magicians, right? Watching somebody actually learn. It's going to be a journey. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. But from start to finish, hopefully what you'll see is a very novice magician learn how to become a true entertainer on stage, right? And watching the journey, the headaches, the obstacles, the tips, the tricks, some of the hacks, you know, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. We've talked about character and developing character. We're at a point now where we're really going to build out his show. The best way to build out a show is to build a show. So you can...
So in all honesty, I'm sorry for jumping in there, but in all honesty, I don't know what tricks I really like, right? I know what I like watching from some of the best performers like Adam-Wilber, Bill Malone, all the great names, right? Adam, you owe me something.
$20 is in the mail. Yeah, the check's in the mail.
Okay, cool. No, but I watched a ton of performances, right? Michael Lamar, Adam's lecture, Bill Malone, Cody Fisher, and all those great performers. And I know what I like watching, but I don't know what I like doing. That's why we decided we are going to build a show, look at each individual section, like for this video, the opener, decide on what tricks could work as an opener, discuss the pros and cons of each and one, and I will then start learning all of the tricks and perform them to my wife, to Adam, to you guys, to my friends, and then basically decide, okay, what fits for me, and what I'm going to keep in my performance and what I'm going to put back on the shelf and will love forever from a distance.
So this video, we're talking about opening effects and how do you open a show, right? What's the first thing you do? So with that said, my advice to anyone I would be consulting with is watch a bunch of shows on YouTube. You're gonna see what other magicians are opening with, jot down some notes, and tell me what you like, right? So I could say, hey, Felix, here's a great opener. This is what I open with. This is what Bill Malone opens with. This is what David Williamson opens with, whatever it is. But that's me and my character and my legs. So Felix has already done his homework, studied a lot of magic shows and a lot of magic performances. And that's not meaning you have to go buy 1 million tickets to magic shows. You can look at this on YouTube and find all the material you would need, which is what Felix did. So after doing that, Felix, if I was to ask you your 3 favorite opening magic effects for a stand-up magic show, as it stands after your research, what would those 3 be?
I'm remembering one statement of Fitzky from his Showmanship for Magicians. He said, a good opener has color, sound, and movement. And you have roughly 60 seconds to get the audience engaged. Also, Will Fern in his DVD set, Bring It, is only pushing this one thought. It's basically like when you walk on stage, if from the first 15 seconds, the audience is going to judge you. And your job is to get their attention and establish that their attention is not going to be wasted on you. So something visual, something fast. Michael Amar, for example, did an appearing bottle, which I really liked. Super visual, super fast, and extremely simple. I heard so many statements from interviews that, for example, Silk to Egg is not a good opener, even though you, Adam, you kill with it, right? The difficulty, most of the people are pointing out that it takes 60 to 90 seconds, and this is a very long time for the audience to decide if they want to watch you or not. But I think something like appearing bottle, or
there's appearing bottle, right? There is disappearing bottle, the vanishing bottle.
Yeah, vanishing bottle, yeah.
There is The Best Knots Off Silk Ever by McBride, which is a really beautiful piece. You can start to music. It's instantaneous. He has some really clever tips on grabbing the audience's attention with a fan opening bit he does. That's a killer opener.
Kevin James, bowling ball. When he draws the bowling ball, basically you have this moment when the bowling ball drops and hits the floor. Basically, everybody's watching at the stage. There's no chance that this is not going to be noticed by anyone. So this is also kind of cool.
Notes on developing a show. Know where you plan on doing this show, right? And for Felix, Felix isn't planning to turn this into a job where he's going to be traveling around the country performing. Kids that I've coached that do want that want to be a road warrior, if you will, out there performing this show to a lot of people. I do not suggest Kevin James bowling ball, because you're not going to want to travel with that. I promise you. So the idea of pack small, play big, again, knowing what my objectives are going into this, right? If my objectives are, I want to make a career out of being a professional corporate magician or a family entertainer, you have to keep that in mind. Felix's is the sky's the limit. He wants to put on a great show. That's it. So that means everything is acceptable. So an opening bit like the bowling ball, phenomenal. Few downsides, it's not cheap, right? Yeah. But again, that's not a limitation that we're faced with right now. So if you're faced with finances, then something like a vanishing bottle may be better for you as an opener. But what are we talking about? Quick visual, 60 seconds, they see the magic, right? Vanishing bottle, done. Appearing bottle, done. Bowling ball opener, done. Appearing cane, done to music.
Yeah.
Floating cane, done to music, right? I could genuinely list 30 opening effects, but again, these are things that they need to fit you. So my suggestion, if you're watching, which again, Felix has already done, is to watch 30 videos from performers. Okay, go to YouTube and type in magic performances by some of your favorite performers. See what you can get, or type in magic castle performances and see what comes up. See what openers resonate with you and write them down. Okay, get that list done. For Felix, we've already discussed this off camera. I think the best opener for Felix is to come out on stage, blow up a balloon, pop the balloon. Inside of the balloon is a bottle, then vanishing bottle from there. Okay?
Yeah.
It's unbelievably quick and powerful opener that combines two things. You're using, I don't want to expose anything, but you're using the gimmick for vanishing bottle as the appearing bottle as well. Mark Shortland, incredible creator and performer. It's on one of his DVD series. Awesome.
On and off stage. It's the DVD series is called On and Off Stage.
And it's what, if I had to restructure and redo a show today, it's how I would open my show. Blowing up a bottle without saying a word, or blowing up a bottle. That would be cool on its own. Blowing up a balloon. You've got the audience going, what's this guy doing? You pop it. So first, the balloon is colorful. You pop it, it's loud, and then the magic is that a bottle appears, right? And that's all within the first 15 seconds. It's a damn good opener.
Yeah.
It's not too hard to do, but we're gonna watch Felix practice it because it's also not self-working, right? Then from that, which we'll still incorporate as the first effect, the opening effect, vanishing bottle. So you're getting about 3 minutes of magic where they're seeing a ton of magic, they're getting a sucker effect, and they're learning your personality in the span of 3 minutes. So my suggestion is that your opener should be appearing bottle to vanishing bottle, using a ketchup bottle.
Yeah, I also want to try the silk to egg because I really like how you open your show. I would use a different story which suits better to me, obviously, but I really like the trick very much. I also like the way Bob Hayden opened the show with silk to egg in the Magic Castle. Very, very cool. So I want to try silk to egg. I want to try the appearing and disappearing bottle. And,
just call it bottle opener. We'll know what that means. And I have one other suggestion for you. And the nice thing about when you're learning this, for instance, maybe Felix decides to go with the bottle opener, but also puts the time in to learn silk to egg. Beautiful. You move silk to egg from your opener to your second or third piece, right?
Yeah.
You're finding tricks that you like as openers. It doesn't mean they have to be openers. It means, hey, I like that trick. Homeboy did it as an opener, but this chick did it as her third piece in the set, right? So you're not learning something that's going to waste. I just want to make that clear. So,
have you seen how Scott Alexander opened his show with the
a lot of Scott shows? I don't know which one.
Candle to flower.
Yeah.
It is so funny. I don't want to spoil it, so look it up. But I need to explain it. He has a candle in his hand. He puts a silk over it, and then he takes the candle and then he pulls the silk away, and he has a flower in his hand. And then he drops the silk, and the prop is basically a steel tube, which is put over the flower. And when he pulls it away and he lets the silk drop, it's slamming on the ground like a steel tube would. It's so funny, and he plays it off like nothing ever happened, right? It's like, okay, that's the trick. Yeah, okay.
Great example. I mean, that's his character, right? Comedy, goofy magic. He's setting him up, and then if you know Scott, he gets him, right? So you're watching that going, all right, this guy's clearly not going to fool us. He's just going to do silly stuff. And then you go into trick number 2, and you're going, okay. He's got us. So a bottle opener, silk to egg, and then I'd like you to learn World's Best Knot Off Silk. It's a good piece to practice where you're not saying a lot. It's a very visual piece. It's really easy to perform, and it's a fooler. It's a really pretty piece of magic, and McBride's one of the best to do it. And when I saw him open his show with it, the nuances he has for that are absolutely brilliant. You could walk into a very loud audience, and the things he does with his fan to get them to pay attention, absolute genius, and the kind of genius that you can only get from 50 years of being on stage. And it's not expensive, universal language. You don't have to say a word for it to make sense. It's a beautiful piece of magic. I think if you can focus on those three, practicing till you've gotten them down, you've got a script to go along with them, you've got the movements down, you'll decide which one feels best as an opener, and we'll look at that. You'll open each, so you'll come out as if you're opening a show with all three of them, and then you and I will look at them together and see which one feels the best, which one feels like I would be more in depth to watch that show than maybe this one.
Yeah, cool. Also, it goes hand in hand with what Fitki says, right? Because he has these two options to open a show. The first option is you are obviously getting introduced, because we went over this. Getting introduced is a good thing. But then you introduce yourself, you try to build rapport, and then you start with a very visual trick. And the second option to open a show is to music and just something visual. So you're trying to introduce yourself and try to build rapport from the second effect on.
Yep.
But it's just you walk out with music, you do something to music, and just let the audience be swayed by your performance.
And I think it's called The World's Best Knot Off Silk, is the perfect example of that. It gives you an understanding of what it would feel like to walk out blind without saying anything, leaning only on the magic to grab their attention. And then you'll get two versions of walking out. One which tells your character right off the front with the bottle. You're still sort of walking out blind by just blowing up the balloon, but you don't have to walk out that way. You could walk out, say something, and then start blowing the balloon up. Then you've got Silk to Egg, which is leveraging heavy on this is who I am, buy into my character, now let's do the magic. So you really got a gauntlet of openers, right? One where you're gonna talk first, one where you're gonna do a little bit of talking, then the magic, and one where you're not gonna say anything and lean just on the magic. And for me, I know I can, of course, it's very difficult for me to start a show and make it feel like it's got unity to it if I'm not saying something first. So for me to come out and start my show with The World's Best Knot Off Silk, it won't play right, because I lean so heavily on my character and this likability factor of being a dad and the guy you want to go have a beer with, that I need that to lead my show, right? So for me, that works. It might be drastically different from you. Maybe because English isn't your first language, there's a cool little thing built into there where you come out, no one's gonna know that you're German speaking by nature. So if you come out and do a 45-second piece of magic that's just visual, and they're going, whoa, and then you talk with an accent, that's almost an effect in its own. Because I've seen you come out on stage. I'm talking about if you were in the States, of course, okay?
Yeah.
So if you're over here performing, or if I was in Austria and I came out and did something to music, but no one knew who I was, and then the first thing I say is in English, there's a moment there. I don't know what it is. It's not astonishment or wonder, but it's a moment, and we can leverage that moment too, okay? So these are all things to think about in who you are, how you want to develop it, and what you should do. And the best way to do it is what we're doing here. Have a little bit of a variety, film all of them. You and I, and we'll get into this, but he's gonna be practicing it to a camera as if it was an audience, and then we're going to watch it together from an audience's point of view. And I'm gonna sort of help with, as a director, saying, hey, maybe this be better. Hey, would this be more effective if we did that? So the practicing of it is learning these three things, right? So the first part of that is, how are you actually gonna learn them? We're gonna document that. You're gonna watch him learning and practicing these. Then he's gonna film it, and the next time we revisit it will be us looking at them together and deciding which one is the most powerful opener for your character and the show you're trying to develop. One thing that is a bit of homework for you before I want you to start even practicing these is simple but difficult. I want you in a sentence or two, but no more than 2 sentences, to tell me at the end of your show, what do you want your audience to leave there remembering?
Okay.
What's the main thing you want them walking away from your show remembering, thinking, and feeling? Okay? So if you had to say, I get to instill something into this audience with this performance, what is it? And I'll tell you, mine, right? My sort of mission for every show is that people leave my show with an impression that the smallest things they can do in kindness to other people can make the biggest differences in the world. So for instance, opening a door for somebody and letting them walk in front of you, a stranger. Maybe that person was on suicide watch and felt like they had no one in the world, and you opened the door for them, and that one little kind act of just opening a door could change that person's life. That's a dramatic example. But my point is, it's very easy for people to seclude themselves into their own world, not be social and not be kind, whereas a little tiny bit of kindness every single day can change people's lives. That's my goal, right? I know that's what I want people leaving. I want them leaving going, maybe I could be a little nicer to people. Maybe I could give a little more than I take. And I get it, there's benefit to that. That's all I'm trying to. I don't know if I hit it, but I have some scriptings in my show that allow me to plant those seeds. So I want you to think about, when your audience leaves, what is the emotion and memory you want them to take home with them. It's a mission statement for your show, right? It gives you a northern light to steer your show in that direction. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I want the audience leaving thinking I'm the sexiest magician in the world. There are magicians that fit that.
That's a given, yeah.
Right? or it's also fine to say, now don't dumb it down and say, I just want them to be really entertained. Well, no shit, right? It's a magic show. But what's different from you to me, right? When they leave my show, I want them thinking, I really like the guy. I'd like to go have a beer with him. He's a personal dude that I could approach and seems like a genuinely nice guy. And you know what? I think he's right. I think there's a lot of magic in kindness that I've overlooked my whole life. Maybe I could start, planting those seeds in other people's lives. And if I can hit that, great. But it means there are certain things I wouldn't say, certain ways I wouldn't act, and certain tricks I wouldn't do. One thing for sure I would never do is make fun of a spectator on stage, right?
Yeah.
Whereas insult magicians or those little edgier magicians, maybe their mission statement is, I want to walk the line from appropriate to inappropriate to where everyone leaves here thinking I am absolutely hysterical and they want to hire me for their event. That's their mission statement. Their show will be drastically different than my show, right? So you got to think about what that is. And it doesn't mean it has to be, I wrote it once and that's it. As we develop the show, we will refine that over time, right? It's just something to give us a beacon of the direction of your character, how they would act, what they would do, and how they would handle situations.
Cool. Got it.
So again, thank you guys for watching this journey. We're really trying to just document the process of what it means to develop a show following a character and with an end mission, right? Not just a show to say, oh, I did a show, but a show that impacts people in the way you want them to be impacted. So you have full control of your show. Doesn't mean you have to create all the magic tricks yourself, but it will stop you from buying a trick and representing it the exact way you saw in the tutorial, right? It'll make you say, well, Pop Hayden does it that way, but my mission statement ends up over here and Pop's is over here. So I've got to take the effect, find a middle ground, and steer them towards where I want them to go, right? It's putting you into the effects as opposed to putting the effects into your show, if that makes sense. So thanks for being along with this journey. It's the first video. They're going to get a little more concise and make a little bit more sense. But as it stands now, you're going to be watching us document the journey of Felix building a stand-up show, and then you're going to actually get to watch him perform it live in front of a group and everything that comes along with that. So thanks for watching. This is really exciting for us. It's the first video in this installment. If you have ideas for names, drop them in the comments below. Tentatively, we'll call it Zero to Hero, but calling Felix a zero is horrible because I love him like a brother and he's not a zero. So let's see if we can think of something better than that. All right? Cool. Thanks for being here. And as always,
see you guys.
We'll see you on the next one.